Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be working on this Xbox Series X. This has been sent in by a customer, but more importantly, it's been sent in by a very long-term viewer of the channel, Ellis. Ellis, first of all, I want to say a big thank you for the gifts that you sent. I know I sent you a text message the other day just to confirm that I'd received the device, but I didn't actually check what was inside the box. All I checked was the paperwork, and when I've gone to come and do it now, I realise that you've sent me some gifts. Thank you. As a technician, we really do appreciate a little munch and a little drink while we're working. So Ellis has very kindly sent me a big can of Red Bull. So, yep, that's my favourite drink. I drink them all day long. No, it doesn't affect my sleep because, well, I'm addicted to them. And, yeah, they don't affect my sleep. So, yeah, thank you for the Red Bull. Really appreciate it. That's going to fill up now. Oh, no, it didn't. There you go. So, if you want to poison me, just send me one of those with poison in them. Anyway, thank you for that. He's also very kindly sent me a couple of bags of Haribo Star Mix. Cody is going to love those along with the Kinder Surprise. He's going to love those as well. He absolutely loves Kinder Eggs and he absolutely loves Haribo Star Mix. He seems to take all of the eggs out of them and then separate it, separate the eggs from the rest of them, eat the eggs first, and then eat the rest of them normally. So, don't know, very weird. But yeah, Cody's going to love those, so really, thank you. I really do genuinely appreciate it. And last but not least, he thinks he's funny. He thinks he's funny. He sent me 2 packs of ginger nuts. That's cyberbullying, Ellis. And besides, not ginger, blonde. And joke's on you. These are my favourite biscuit. Anyway, no, in all seriousness, thank you, Ellis. I really do appreciate it. Genuinely, it does make me smile when people send gifts. You know, people do send them occasionally when they send a console in for repair, if they're a viewer of the channel and stuff. And yeah, I do always appreciate it. I don't always get to say thank you because I don't always do a video on the repairs that I do. But yeah, honestly, thank you. I really do truly appreciate it. I do offer repair services to the public, so obviously if you do need a repair, then you can always get in touch. You can visit the website, www.consolefix, not consolefix, that's my online store. You can buy parts on the online store. The cody.repair for if you want to book in a repair. And obviously, you can get a quote on there as well. If you want, you can send me an email and I'll respond as soon as I possibly can. I have got a lot better at that lately, so yeah. There we go. If you do need any parts, like I said, consolefix.shop. I do sell parts for Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch, all of that sort of stuff. So, yeah, and all of that obviously directly supports the channel and stuff like that. And another quick announcement before we actually start. I am working on my own liquid metal for the PlayStation 5. I've been doing some tests and my liquid metal compared to the factory liquid metal seems to be performing around about 1.5 degrees better. I know that's not a lot, it's within margin of error and stuff like that, but it's at least on par with the factory stuff. And I'm going to be selling it for a lot cheaper than what Thermal Grizzly does. So with Thermal Grizzly, you can get liquid metal for around about 15 British pounds for 1 gram. I'm going to be selling 2 grams for £12.95. How about that for a bargain? So yeah, I'm going to put these on pre-order. They're going to be available in around about 3 weeks from when I publish this video. I will have to mark the item as dispatched because I use something called Shopify, and if I don't dispatch in time, then it affects my statistics and stuff like that. It affects my rankings on the, on the shop and stuff. But basically, I'll mark it as dispatched, and then obviously, once they actually become available, once I start mass producing this stuff in about 3 weeks, I will ship all of the pre-orders out first before I ship any other orders out. So, like I said, I have done some tests on this. I've been testing this for a while. This isn't something that I've just, spare a moment. I'm going to make my own liquid metal. I've actually researched it, and yeah, it's performing well so far. So I am still going to try and tinker with it and try and get those temperatures lower. But at the minute, this stuff, what I've got right here, is on par with the stock liquid metal that you get from Sony when you buy the PlayStation 5. So if you do want to pre-order it, £12.95 for 2 grams. £30 for 5 grams or £50 for 10 grams. Get the pre-orders in if you want if you want to get your order in for when the first batch arrives, etc, etc, etc. So with that being said, enough shilling, let's get into today's video. Okay, like I said, thank you, Ellis. I genuinely do appreciate it. I'm going to drink that Red Bull now while I'm doing this repair, and these are going to go to Cody, and that's going to go to Cody. Well, they'll get shared between the 3 kids, but yeah, Cody will not let the kids have any of those, the other 2, so yeah, there we go. Thank you, Ellis. I really do genuinely appreciate the gifts. Alright, so this has been sent in for a HDMI port, and it's not really going to be, too much of an exciting repair and stuff like that, but it's pretty mangled, so we never know what we're going to find inside. So I thought to do a video on it just because, well, I haven't done a video on a Series X HDMI port for a while, so yeah, just be warned, this might not be the most interesting repair. So if you don't find this stuff interesting, I understand, I do get it. I probably wouldn't watch someone just change a HDMI port for a dedicated video either. I do them on live streams a lot of the time, but in terms of actual repair videos, I probably wouldn't watch it. I'm going to be honest, I probably wouldn't watch it. So yeah, there we go. Anyway, let's get to it. So actually, I don't think I can test this HDMI. I can test power. No, it's too damaged. We've got pins which are damaged on the actual HDMI port itself, so I'm not going to test that. I don't want to risk breaking it. Did I turn that on, or is it just turned on its own? Huh. Interesting. I'm not sure. Let's have a look. So that was turned on when I just looked at it. Okay, I might have pressed the eject button because that does turn it on. The beep looks like it's disabled on this, but yep, okay, that's fine. Why did I put a Ethernet cable in? I don't know. I've been doing a lot of tests on my, like I said, on my liquid metal, and I'm going to show you the viscosity of this because people want to see it. So yeah, I'll show you the viscosity of this before I end the video, but yeah, I've been doing a lot of tests on the PlayStation 5 and stuff, and I've been plugging in the Ethernet so as I can obviously, number one, use more CPU resources so I can stress it as much as I possibly can, and number two, because, well, I don't want to sit there and download games over Wi-Fi. So yeah, this console turns on, but the HDMI port is very damaged, so we're going to see. It might be interesting. We could end up with some torn pads, something like that. So like I said, Ellis is a regular viewer of the channel. Ellis has been around for quite a long time, and he's a very generous viewer as well. He does support me quite a lot in terms of donations and subscribing on Twitch when I'm live streaming and stuff like that, giving me a Twitch subscription, stuff like that. So I really do genuinely appreciate the support, and I know it's a bit of a cliche to say it, but it's true. Alright, so we're going to remove this nice and neatly so as we don't damage it. I don't like to damage these stickers. I like to put them back so as they're nice and clean. The cleaner I can get it, the better. I'll just pop that back down. I won't stick it fully down. I'll just pop it down just to make sure it doesn't end up losing its sticky. I'm going to do the same with this one. Just heat it up. And then it should... Keyword here being should. It should pop up. There we go, beautiful. Perfect. And then we can pop that back down as well later on. Alright, so I'm going to fast forward through this, but like I said, if you do need a repair, you can book it in. For this particular repair, if it's just a HDMI port, I do charge a flat fee. I charge £60 for HDMI ports, which it's the going rate around by me. Some people say I don't charge enough, but that's the going rate around by me. So yeah, flat fee, £60 on the HDMI port. So if you do need this repair doing, that's what you'll pay. Obviously, you got repair costs on top of that. The postage costs on top of that. But directly to me, that is how much I'll charge, £60. If you got something like a no power issue, it varies. It can be anything from £60 layback to like £100, £120 depending on the issue that's causing the no power. Don't think this has ever been opened, so it's looking like it's going to need a good service as well. That's absolutely fine, we can do that while we're doing it. One thing I always do, and one thing I always try to say to people when I'm doing videos is, if you're inside the console, just service it at the same time. You know, I've known people who charge extra to service it. You know, they won't clean out any dust or anything. All they'll do is just change the thermal paste. It takes 2 minutes, ladies and gents. It takes 2 minutes, and it's going to make sure that your customer is happy and that it's not going to come back under a warranty. So, yeah, just service it while you're in there. It's not going to hurt you. You know, yes, technically you can be losing money on it if you do charge extra for the service, but it keeps your customers happy. You know, what's an extra £20? I mean, fair enough, it adds up. You know, you do 10 of these a day, that's £200 lost every day. But, yeah, it's a couple of minutes. You're already inside the console. Just clean it. Anyway, I'm only mentioning that because I've had a few consoles the past few days which other people have worked on, and to be honest, they haven't been cleaning them, and it really does frustrate me. Because then I go in there second, and not only have I got to clean up the console, I've also got to clean up their mess that they've made because they haven't taken care when they're actually doing the repair. But yeah, never mind. Anyway, I'm gonna speed through this bit. I'll speed run this, and obviously I'll pick it up when it's done. What is that? Ugh. A little bit of carpet. Oh, Ellis, don't keep your console on the carpet, please. That's how you get overheating issues. I think it's a bit of carpet. It looks like a bit of carpet. If it looks like a fish and it smells like a fish, it's probably a fish. Anyway. I'll fast forward through. I'll speed run this bit. Right, we are. So we are inside the console now. This is going to be a V2 motherboard. So there's two revisions to the, or two known revisions to the Xbox Series X. So the first one had the silk screen on the board, and the second one doesn't. So this is the V2. Little word of advice: if you're removing these connectors, just press on the connector just so as you can pull it out properly, or rather separate that little notch there. Just put it away from it so as you can actually pull the ribbon out properly without breaking the connector, because that's how you end up with the 80-pin connector being damaged. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to inspect this under the microscope. I'm going to have a look and just see what the deal is with the HDMI port. Make sure we've got no torn traces, and then I'll get to actually removing it. Right, we are. So the HDMI port itself looks absolutely fine. It's nice and solid. It hasn't been damaged on the ground legs, so that means we've got no damaged pins. I have just checked all of these pins, all 19 pins. None of them are loose. Unfortunately, I was out of focus, so I've had to just basically re-record it. And then I realised I had another camera on my microscope camera, so I had to re-record it again. And then I realised that I had instruments on the screen that I didn't need, so I've had to re-record it once again. So this is take number 3 or 4, something like that. But anyway, the pins themselves are absolutely fine. There's a couple of reasons that I am actually, recording this. Number one is because I wanted to say thank you to Ellis. And number two, because I've got one of these coming in tomorrow. I've got contacted by a customer. This isn't calling anyone out or anything like that, but I got contacted by a customer saying that he's got 12 damaged pins on I think it's an Xbox Series S. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's him or, the actual another technician who's actually done it, but I just wanted to record the video just to show how to safely remove them, because I think it's important that people know. So the way that I do it, and I'm not saying this is correct, I'm not saying that this is the absolute be all and end all way to do this, but the way that I do these ports is from underneath the board. So what I'll do first of all is I'll always add some flux to the HDMI port. So we'll just make sure we've got some flux there that stops us from damaging any pads, or oxidising any pads to the point where we can't sort them out easily. So we'll just add some flux to the back of the port and also to the side where the ground anchors are. Right? So we do that, and then I'm going to keep the board so as the APU is facing the table. So it's basically upside down, or how it would be inside the heatsink and stuff. But then I'll just take my hot air with no nozzle, right? So no nozzle on the hot air at all. And the reason for that is because if you're using a nozzle, for example, this one here, so I do use nozzles depending on what I'm doing, but if you're using a nozzle, you're restricting the airflow. And what that's doing is it's heating up one area, but it's not heating up the other area. So you want this to heat up evenly. You want it to heat up all at the same time. So I'll remove the nozzle completely. Be careful if you're removing nozzles, especially if you've just recently used it. It will be hot. Sucks that I've actually got to say that, but hey ho. Yeah, so I'll remove the nozzle. I'll pull my hot air out a little bit, so as it's just about, well, then about just covering the corner, so just about there. And then what I can do then is I can sit with the hot air under the board like this, without obviously putting strain on the pipework and stuff on the hot air, stuff like that. So I can heat up from underneath the board and basically just flow everything at the same time. The heat is going to transfer through the board very, very quickly. It's not going to take long. These are not that thick. So it's going to transfer through the board and it's basically going to heat up everything evenly. By the time the ground legs have melted, the solder on the actual pins themselves should be melted, but I'm not going to take a chance on that. I always give it a tap first. So you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to set my hot air at 480 degrees Celsius, 50% airflow. This is just a HDMI port. It's not going to hurt it. It's not like we reflowing anything like the RAM where it's very sensitive to heat, or the HDMI encoder where it's sensitive to heat or anything like that. I would recommend, if you're not using, if you're not comfortable using 480, just go a bit lower, take a little bit longer, something like that. It's just that I'm very comfortable with my hot air, and I only calibrated this last night. I calibrated this hot air station, so I know 100% that it's accurate, right? So anyway, I'm going to heat up from underneath, and I'm going to start off by moving the hot air around. I'm going to basically just keep it flowing, keep some airflow moving, get some heat in the general area. And one more thing, I recommend getting some of these aluminium strips. Can you see that on the camera? These things here. Get some aluminium strips. It makes things like this a lot better because you don't damage your table doing it. They're about £5 on eBay for floor grips, stair floor grips. And yeah, they make perfect shields for your table to stop you burning your table. But anyway, I'm just going to heat up like that, and notice I'm not going to sit there rushing and yanking at the port and all of this and that, oh, come on, you need to come up really, really quick because we've got more work to do. No, take your time. Who cares? I'll just sit here for a minute, doesn't really matter. I'll tell you what, let's eat a biscuit while we're doing it. Bit of a stretch. Grab a biscuit. Thanks, Alice. Little bit of Red Bull. And then we're ready to pull. No, we're not. Still not done. Ha! Tappy. Now it's getting looser. One last bit. Done. They do come in handy. Get yourself some ginger nuts. Damn it, you can't even see. I've just ruined my video, haven't I? Well, let's reenact that. port was there, like that. It was a little bit less wonky than that, but it's okay, that's fine. Ow, that's hot. Pro tip, metal gets hot. Who would have thunk it? So, we used the hot air, we took our time, we ate a biscuit. There we go. Isn't this a great video? We're learning so much, aren't we? Yeah. First of all, we're learning that ginger nuts distract you from viewing what you're viewing on the camera. So, yeah, there is that. Great. And we also learned that you just take your time and you don't damage the pins or the pads, rather. Well, this video's turning out great. Eat another biscuit. Anyway, now that that's done, HDMI port's removed, and look how clean that removed. I know you couldn't see it because I'm an absolutely crap YouTuber, but it is clean. The HDMI port area isn't damaged in the slightest, and if we spin the board around, we also have no damage around here, right? So basically the original solder's still there, yes, but that is absolutely fine because we're going to replace that with leaded solder. We've got no damage to the ESD IC because we didn't use hot air directly below that, or directly above it technically, but below it because we was holding the board upside down. But yeah, no damage to the board. Just take your time, guys. It doesn't take a genius, okay? You know, I mean, the thing is, these are a pain in the backside, right? Because this here, this adhesive, stops it from coming up when it's ready to. So people just sit there and just yank on it basically because they don't know when it's ready to come up. But if you leave the hot air for long enough, that will soften up and allow you to lift the port. I always remove that, by the way. So what I'll do is when I use the hot air in a second, or once I've tinned these pads, I'll use some hot air and I'll remove the rest of that adhesive. You don't have to. It will sit flat without it, but I like to remove it just to make sure. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some leaded solder in place of the solder that's already there. So I'm going to mix it with it, and that'll reduce the melting temperature needed for the solder to flow. So I'm going to nice big BC3 tip. I'll wick that away off that ground pad in a minute. It's fine. A nice big tip. It's going to allow for some nice thermal mass. There we go. And I'm going to tin this area as well. Just like so. Make sure that this solder flows through. Beautiful. Okay, so now I'm going to use a bit of hot air, and I'm just going to remove the rest of this adhesive. So I'll just heat that up. If you just heat it up a little bit, it doesn't take much to just heat it up and slice it away with a nice sharp blade. Doesn't matter if you scratch the board, it's just a ground plane, you're not going to damage anything. But I just want to make sure that it's nice and clean and that it's going to accept a new port nicely for me. There we go, perfect. Just get rid of that. And done. Or rather, that bit's done. So what I'm going to do now before I go any further is just remove that solder from around that ground plane. It's not going to hurt the board, it's not going to make any difference to the board, but I like to keep it as clean as I can. You know, if you get a little bit of overspill on the soldering iron, or because of the soldering iron, just wake it away. Just like that. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, so that's done. We're good to go there. I'm just going to tin these ground anchors as well. just like that. And then get some more solder on the ground pad. Of course I do. This video's going great. Well, never mind. So you see what I mean about this big tip? About how it just, you know, that ground plane is nothing. So yeah, and you're a ground plane, so what? I'm a BC3. It's huge. The thermal mass is unbelievable. Alright, anyway, so that's done. Next step, clean up the flux. Get rid of it. We don't need it. We're going to put fresh down. So we're going to clean up this flux. And make sure we've got a nice clean board to work with. So just clean up as you go, because otherwise it's going to be impossible for you to clean all of the flux up afterwards. This is no clean flux. I sell this on my online store. This is no clean flux, but basically you need to make sure that the flux is as clean as possible, because otherwise it's going to end up spreading underneath the port and inside the port and stuff, and it just makes it a pain in the backside basically. Alright, so when putting the port back on then, it's fairly straightforward. Just do exactly what we've already done, but in reverse. So I always hover it over the edge of the board. I'll put this under the microscope so you can see it a bit better. But I always hover it over the edge of the board, heat up from underneath, and then when I see the solder flow, I'm going to drop the port on and we'll be good to go. So I've got the board over the edge of the table here. First and foremost, obviously, the most important thing, we're going to add some flux. I don't want to put too much flux on because I don't want it to end up travelling all over the board and ended up inside the port itself. So while we will put a bit on, we won't put much on. Just a minimal amount to get the job done. If we need to come back in with the iron afterwards and tin them and get them all nice and shiny, we will, but we just want to keep flux down to a minimum. So again, 480 degrees Celsius, and like I said, it doesn't matter, this is just a HDMI port. As long as we don't melt the port, we're absolutely fine. So I've got a replacement HDMI port ready. And when I see that solder drop, just like that, I'm going to wait for these other corner ones to do. I'm actually going to move these out a little bit. It's a bit close to my desk. It's a little bit too close to my desk, and even though I've got an aluminium strip there, I don't want to risk damaging it. So I'll just reheat this now. I'm going to wait for this solder to drop on these top pins, top ground pins. It doesn't actually always drop. I don't think it's going to this time. I'm going to wiggle the port around a little bit just to make sure it goes. Whoops, it's not going inside the holes. It's being a little punk. Okay, that's dropped now, so that's definitely flowed all the way. Now it's going in the holes. So I'm going to push down on the port. I'm going to press and hold that, and I'm going to move the hot air away. And I'm actually using the edge of the board with the edge of the nozzle just to put some pressure on it to keep it down. That's going to make sure that it presses down nicely on the board. And we'll let go once it's solidified and done. Okay, so let's just have a look. There's a couple of pins which are slightly out of alignment. You do get that sometimes. So I am going to run over this with the iron. I'm not going to put too much flux on. I'm going to run over it with the iron. Take some leaded solder. Don't worry about the bridges to start with. Just want to make sure that all the pins get pushed down. Okay, so we'll clean the iron. We've got a fairly big bridge there, so a little bit too much solder. I don't want to put any more flux on because, like I said, I don't want it to go inside the port. I'd be able to clear that up with flux and just the iron, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to come in with some wick. And just wick it away. There we go. Beautiful. Just get rid of any excess. Still have some excess there. I might have to put some more flux on. So yeah, I think I need more flux. We've definitely got a bridge there. So I'm just going to add a tad. I really don't want to put much on. Oh wow, that bridge really don't want to come out, does it? Okie dokie, that should do it. I'm going to give this a clean and then I'll inspect everything. Nope, there's still a bridge there. Alright, clean up and then I'll put some more flux down. I probably need to change iron tips, to be honest. A little bit of conformal coating exposure as well. I'm going to change my tip to a smaller tip. So if you're struggling, just change your tip. You're obviously not using the right one, as I'm doing there. Trying to save myself some time, but it's not working. Which means that I've got to spend more time cleaning the actual port itself. That bridge is being a pain. Has it got it? I think so. Right, let's give that a check, shall we? So let's just give all the pins a nudge. Yep, all of those pins are solid. All nice and shiny. No cold solder joints or anything like that. I'm happy with that. Sort of. Okay, so next thing we're going to do then is I'm going to test the pins in diode mode and just make sure that we get a good reading on them. So with my multimeter in diode mode then, I'm going to put my red probe on ground and just test these. I'm going to turn my beeper off because you can see anyway on the screen, so turn the beeper off. Hello, beeper off. That's annoying. Okay, so we have 0.63, that is a good reading. We have dead short on that one, which means we have a short somewhere. Either to the next pin here, which is ground, or we have a different issue. I'll check that in a minute. I'll just continue to check the rest. So 0.6, 0.61. Oops. Open line, which is normal. 0.63, that's good. And 0.74, that's good. Open. Ground, better. 0.74 is good. 0.74 is good. Ground. 0.74. 0.74. Ground. 0.74. .74 ground. 0.74. Okay, so we do have an issue on pin 18, so we need to figure out why. Do we have a bridge that we can't see, or is there an underlying issue? Them's be the questions. Right, okay. I think it may have been a bridge. Let's just have a look at that again. So red probe on ground, black probe on the pin. 0.59, that's better. So it was just a bridge on the pin. That's good. That means we don't have any blown transistors or anything like that. The ESD IC should be okay. We get a good reading on that. So we should be good, and we should be ready to put it back together. So again, I'm going to skip through this just for testing. I just need to put some fresh thermal paste on here. So again, I'm just going to skip through this for testing. I just need to put some fresh thermal paste on and just make sure that everything's cleaned up nicely, and then we're good to go. I think. I certainly hope so.
I'm the baddest. I just want the money I can manage. Bust me down, I want a ring with the carrots. They know I'm the one, that's why they staring. Fly me out to London or some thongs. I don't want your man unless he know to put his thumb in. Apple bottom jeans looking dumb. They just told the DJ run it back, I ain't no one hit. High class, so I come with a price tag. Yeah, sweetie music, but she running up a dumb bag. Pretty girls get it, drop the beat with a drum. So it's a biggie beat, it's me. Now I got this girl dumb mad. Bad chick, she's so fuego. Weak girls always hating cause they built like a Lego. I can't even trip unless we going overseas. Got a man 6'10", so we seeing everything. If it ain't the money, call and get the dial tone. Y'all still switching lanes while I'm switching different time zones. Got him reaching for me like a milestone. How this girl think she gon' check me, baby, I'm grown. Fly me out to Paris, I'm the baddest. I just want the money I can manage. Bust me down, I want a ring with the carrots. They know I'm the one, that's why they staring. Fly me out to London or some thongs. I don't want your man unless he know to put his thumb in. Apple bottom jeans looking dumb. They just told the DJ run it back, I ain't no one hit.
Beautiful. So the one thing I don't do is put this base back on until I'm 100% sure that it's working, because I put a warranty sticker on there. So let's just put this to the test. It's turning on, and there's the Xbox logo. There we go. Hi Alice. That's what we like to see. Okay, the finishing touch. This will get a warranty sticker, just like this. So I don't put the warranty stickers on the back of the console because it looks a mess. I put it just over that screw there. Not that I don't trust Eddie's. It's company policy. Sorry. Anyway. So yeah, warranty sticker there. I don't like to put them on the back of the console because it looks a mess and it ruins the stickers and stuff like that. So I always put them under there where no one can see it. It's not going to get in anyone's way. No one's going to remove it just because they don't like the fact that it's there, because no one can see it. You know, obviously Ellis will probably see this video and he'll know that the warranty sticker's there, but other than that, you wouldn't know unless you was told. There we go. And yeah, so if I just squeeze some of my liquid metal out there, and I have done tests on this in terms of with the aluminium and stuff, it does obviously corrode aluminium. It's liquid metal. I've also done temperature tests as well. I did flash freeze it at around about minus 24 degrees Celsius. It stayed liquid. It was starting to form a layer on the top, but other than that, you know, it did stay liquid. So yeah, there we go. So yeah, the viscosity of this, it's pretty much, well, exactly the same as normal liquid metal. Yeah, so like I said, I did do a flash freeze test on this. Obviously that's soaking into the paper and stuff, but yeah, I did do a flash freeze test on it, and it's supposed to be able to withstand up to minus 19. I did test it at freezing point, didn't go solid or anything like that. Didn't oxidize or anything, and as you can see, that is very, very nice indeed. It's not, I don't think it's as runny as standard Sony liquid metal, not quite, but it certainly does the job, and from my test so far, it beats Sony stock liquid metal. Yeah, anyway, if you want to pre-order this, it will be available in the top pinned comment on pre-order. I will mark the listings as dispatched, just because I don't want to ruin my stats on my online store, but other than that, it'll be around about 3 weeks from when I post this video. So yeah, stay tuned for more updates on that. I will obviously give some more updates. I'm going to do a video where I do some comparisons and stuff like that. I've got some footage, but I'll also do a live comparison on the video as well. So with that being said, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Take care everyone, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now.